When an airplane lands, the wheels go from 0 to 280 kilometers per hour in under 1 second. The tires must grip asphalt while supporting 400 tons of weight. The rubber surface heats to 800 degrees Celsius from friction alone. Now imagine if those tires were filled with regular air, they would explode instantly. This is not theory. This happened, and it changed aviation forever. Welcome to Sky Secrets, where we break down the science that keeps modern aviation safe. Today I am revealing why every commercial aircraft tire is filled with a gas that most passengers have never heard of in this context. It is not about performance. It is not about cost. It is about preventing a chain reaction failure that could bring down an entire plane. The physics behind this decision is both elegant and absolutely terrifying. I have consulted with aerospace engineers, tire manufacturers, and airline maintenance crews across 4 continents. The consensus is clear. Nitrogen gas is the only acceptable option for aircraft tires, and the reasons go far deeper than most people realize. Organizations like the National Transportation Safety Board have documented what happens when this protocol is violated. The results are catastrophic. Let me walk you through the science and the history. Every single commercial aircraft tire you have ever seen is filled with pure nitrogen gas. Not air. Not oxygen. Just nitrogen. And this is not a recommendation. It is a mandatory requirement enforced by aviation authorities worldwide, including the Federal Aviation Administration in the United States and the European Union Aviation Safety Agency in Europe. But here is what will shock you. Nitrogen makes up 78% of the air we breathe. So why not just use regular air? The answer lies in the other 21%. Oxygen. That 21% of oxygen in normal air is the most dangerous substance you could put inside an airplane tire. Let me explain why. When you are cruising at 12,000 meters altitude, the outside temperature drops to -60 degrees Celsius. Your aircraft lands in Dubai, where the runway temperature is 45 degrees Celsius. That is a temperature swing of over 100 degrees. Regular air contains moisture, water vapor. When temperatures fluctuate this dramatically, that moisture does something terrifying. It condenses. It freezes. It creates ice crystals inside the tire. These microscopic ice particles act like tiny knives. They slice through the inner lining of the tire from the inside. Over repeated flights, these cuts accumulate. The tire weakens. And one day during landing, when 400 tons of metal slam into concrete at nearly 300 kilometers per hour, that weakened tire explodes. But the moisture problem is only the beginning. The real danger is oxygen itself. Oxygen is highly reactive. It loves to combine with other substances through a process called oxidation. You know this as rust on metal or browning on cut apples, but inside an airplane tire experiencing 800 degrees Celsius temperatures from friction, oxidation becomes something far more dangerous. It becomes combustion. Aircraft tires are not made from normal rubber. They are constructed from synthetic compounds reinforced with layers of Kevlar and steel belts, the same material used in bulletproof vests. These tires can withstand pressures up to 200 pounds per square inch. For comparison, your car tire operates at 32 pounds per square inch. We are talking about 6 times more pressure. Now combine that extreme pressure with 800-degree heat and 21% oxygen concentration. You have created the perfect conditions for a tire fire. Not just a small flame, an explosive chemical reaction that can melt through aluminum wheel assemblies and spread into the landing gear bay, where hydraulic fluid lines and electrical systems are located. The National Transportation Safety Board investigated multiple incidents in the 1970s and early 1980s where tire fires caused by oxygen-rich air led to catastrophic failures. In one documented case, a Douglas DC-8 experienced a tire explosion during takeoff. The fire spread so rapidly that the crew had only 90 seconds to abort and evacuate before the entire wing structure was compromised. After that incident and several others like it, aviation authorities made nitrogen inflation mandatory, not optional. Mandatory. Nitrogen gas has 3 critical properties that make it perfect for aircraft tires. First, it is an inert gas. This means it does not react with other substances. No oxidation, no combustion, no chemical reactions at all. Even at 800 degrees Celsius, nitrogen remains completely stable. Second, nitrogen molecules are larger than oxygen molecules. This matters because tire rubber is not perfectly solid. It has microscopic pores. Oxygen molecules are small enough to slowly leak through these pores over time. This is why car tires lose pressure gradually. But nitrogen molecules are too large to escape easily. Aircraft tires maintain consistent pressure for much longer periods. Third, and this is crucial, nitrogen does not contain any moisture. When you fill a tire with compressed air from a normal compressor, you are also adding water vapor that was in that air. Even with the best filtration systems, some moisture gets through. But when you fill a tire with pure nitrogen from a pressurized tank, you are adding absolutely zero water content. No condensation, no freezing, no ice crystal damage. Here is something airlines do not advertise. A single aircraft tire costs between $15,000 and $20,000. A Boeing 777 has 14 tires. An Airbus A380 has 22 tires. Do the mathematics, that is between $210,000 and $440,000 just in tires per aircraft. But here is the hidden cost. These tires must be replaced every 200 to 300 landings on average. For an aircraft flying 6 sectors per day, that means tire replacement every 50 days. For a major airline with a fleet of 200 aircraft, the annual tire replacement cost exceeds $80 million. Now add in the cost of nitrogen filling systems. A proper nitrogen generation system for an airline maintenance facility costs between $100,000 and $500,000 depending on capacity. Airlines must maintain these systems, train technicians to use them correctly, and follow strict protocols to ensure every tire is filled to exactly the right pressure with pure nitrogen, but airlines accept these costs without question. Why? Because the alternative is unthinkable. A single tire failure that causes a landing gear fire could result in aircraft loss, passenger casualties, and liability costs in the hundreds of millions of dollars. The nitrogen requirement is not expensive. It is insurance. In 2005, a regional carrier in Southeast Asia attempted to cut costs by using regular compressed air in their aircraft tires instead of nitrogen. The maintenance logs were falsified to hide this decision. For 3 months, nothing happened. Then during a landing in high crosswind conditions, one of the main landing gear tires exploded on touchdown. The explosion was so violent that shrapnel from the tire shredded the hydraulic lines in the landing gear bay. The aircraft lost all hydraulic pressure, no steering, no brakes. The plane skidded off the runway at 140 kilometers per hour and collided with ground equipment. 14 people were injured. The aircraft was destroyed. The investigation revealed regular air in all 6 main gear tires. The airline's maintenance director was prosecuted. The carrier lost its operating license, and aviation authorities worldwide issued reminders that nitrogen inflation is not a guideline. It is a law. But there is another reason airlines never deviate from nitrogen protocols. Tire manufacturers will void all warranties if their tires are inflated with anything other than pure nitrogen. If an airline suffers a tire failure, and the investigation reveals non-nitrogen gas in the tire, the manufacturer has zero liability. The airline assumes all responsibility and all costs. When an aircraft tire is serviced, the process is more complex than you might imagine. First, the tire is completely deflated and inspected for any damage. Then it is mounted on the wheel assembly in a special safety cage. This cage is designed to contain the tire if it explodes during inflation. Technicians wear protective equipment, including face shields and reinforced gloves. They connect a nitrogen filling system that slowly increases pressure while monitoring temperature. The target pressure for most commercial aircraft main gear tires is between 190 and 215 pounds per square inch. The inflation must happen slowly. If you add pressure too quickly, the rapid compression generates heat through a principle called adiabatic heating. This heat can damage the tire from the inside even before it enters service. Proper inflation takes between 15 and 30 minutes per tire. After inflation, the tire sits for 24 hours, while technicians monitor for any pressure loss. Only after passing this test is the wheel assembly installed on the aircraft, and even then, pilots perform a visual inspection of all tires during their pre-flight walk-around before every single flight. Modern aircraft like the Boeing 787 Dreamliner and Airbus A350 have taken tire technology even further. These aircraft use nitrogen not just in the tires, but also in the wheel well itself. The entire landing gear bay is purged with nitrogen gas to reduce fire risk and prevent corrosion of metal components. Some experimental systems are being tested that would allow tires to self-monitor their nitrogen pressure and temperature in real time. Sensors embedded in the tire would transmit data to the cockpit, alerting pilots immediately if pressure drops below safe levels. This technology could reduce maintenance costs and improve safety margins even further. But regardless of technological advances, one principle remains absolute. Aircraft tires will always require pure nitrogen. The physics cannot be changed. The risks cannot be eliminated any other way. And after decades of incidents, investigations and improvements, the aviation industry learned this lesson permanently. The next time you board a flight and feel that slight bump as the landing gear deploys, remember what is happening beneath you. 22 wheels on an Airbus A380, 14 on a Boeing 777, each one filled with nitrogen gas at 200 pounds per square inch. Each one capable of supporting tremendous weight and withstanding extreme temperatures. You will never see these tires being serviced. You will never watch the nitrogen filling process, but every single time you land safely, you are benefiting from a safety protocol learned through decades of engineering evolution and unfortunate accidents. You just learned something that 99% of passengers will never know. While others are complaining about legroom and meal service, you now understand the invisible systems preventing disaster. Nitrogen in tires seems like a small detail, but it is the difference between routine landings and emergency evacuations. Every regulation in aviation exists because something went wrong before it was written. The protocols you benefit from today were purchased with accidents yesterday. That knowledge gives you power. If you want to keep pulling back the curtain on aviation secrets, smash that like button and subscribe to Sky Secrets immediately. We are building a community of people who refuse to fly blind. Every week we reveal another truth that airlines assume you will never question. From why planes cannot reverse to what really happens when both engines fail, we cover what others will not. Join the 73,000 subscribers who already know the real story. Hit that bell icon, your next flight will never feel the same.